One went out.
Well, we filled the office. Oh, we forgot to put this on.
You had an overflow problem.
Yeah, we had to keep bringing it here. We should put this back. We forgot to put it. When did we even do it? Oh, wait, maybe not. Shabbat Shalom. Now we're going to try that again. Shabbat Shalom. Let's all take a nice deep breath of Shabbat air. We breathe in everything that we've been holding on to this week and want to let go of. And also we breathe in everything we want to actually hold on to. And breathe out all the stuff that we don't need anymore. All the worry, all the bother, all the honking of horns, all the lines at Wegmans, all the disappointment of football games and hockey games, all the snow cleanup. And we breathe in all that sunshine. We finally, they said there was in January, they said there were, 2 days of sunshine all of January.
There you go.
Yeah. But we did, when they wrote that, it was a sunny day. So we come fully present into our service, and I would like to bring Bruce Corris over to officially welcome you home.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Welcome to Leap Month. It is Leap Month, 29 days in February, because of course in Buffalo we need an extra day in February, don't we? And interestingly enough, I was doing some research on this. Now today is February 2nd, so we missed by one to have February start on a Friday, which would mean 5 Fridays in the month of February, 5 Erev Shabbat services. Now, I haven't done the research on how often this happens, but I think it's like once every million years or something like that. But just think, when it does happen next, we will have 5 Erev Shabbat services, which means, of course, 5 nights of announcements, making it even more special. So speaking of special, of course, tonight, first Friday of the month, Jews of all hues, tonight we are traveling to Italy. For information and stories, and of course food. Ronnie is here, and Audrey, where's Audrey? Audrey Nadell will be speaking this evening. It should be really interesting. I'm looking forward to it. And I have a feeling that Ivan will be doing something a little special for us. By the way, stand up, Ivan. Check out Ivan and me. Check it out. We are coordinated this evening. Anyway, I'll be back later with the first of only 4 announcements for the month of February, even though it's Leap Month. Sorry about that. Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
4 tonight.
Oh, the cantor thinks I should do all 4 tonight. I won't do that.
So, I don't know if you knew this, Bruce, but actually it is a leap month in the Jewish year, which will start in February.
Really?
That's why Passover and Purim are very late this year. We have Adar 1 and Adar 2, Adar Aleph and Adar Bet, and that means we have all this extra time. That's why you have extra time to rehearse for Purim.
Oh, okay. Does that mean you get an extra sermon this year?
No, it ends up being the same. It means we don't have as many double portions, which is really nice.
That's great for the B'nai Mitzvah kids.
Yeah, much easier. And hi, Ivan, I didn't even see you there. I believe in your leaflet there is a special Hine Matov. Is that correct? Okay. And it is also on page 120. Just the one.
Just the leaflet.
Just the leaflet will work. So page 128, a very special Hine Matov.
I see by people's movement, it's on the back cover. There you go.
You could read the future, right?
So we're moving musically. Last time we were together for Jews of All Use, we were in Ukraine, where we were doing a lot of Yiddish, right? This is going to feel very Italian tonight and very Western. Maestro. Try with me. In Italian. Ecco quante buono e quante piacevole che fratelli di morino assieme. Ecco quante buono e quante piacevole che fratelli di morino assieme.
That was beautiful. What to
It's
say,
like
Marina, how did she
Verde.
do with the Italian?
This is specifically a melody from Florence, Italy.
We're going to turn to our candle lighting on page 120. And why don't we have Ira and Audrey? Would you like to light our candles? And Audrey, the challah is not gluten-free, but we're not asking you to do that yet. At page 120. May the lights of our ancestors light our way through Shabbat. And Ira, would you like to lift the cup there? It's up to you whether you want to drink, but page 123, I think we're back to white wine, so it's a little better. I don't know if it's Italian. Do you want to lead it? Okay, here, would you like a Sidor? Yeah, you can do however you'd like.
Here, this works.
Sure, Hebrew. I'll do Hebrew. Vayhi Erev, vayhi Boker Yom HaShishi, vayikalu Hashemayim v'retz v'chal tzva'am, v'chal Elohim b'yom HaShvi mikol malachto asher asa, vayvorch Elohim Hashem HaShvi v'kadesh oso asher asa, vayishbos b'yom HaShvi v'kadesh oso, ki vo shavas mikol malachto asher bar Elohim la'asos, savrim elam barosai, Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech olam, Borei b'ri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech olam, Asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'ratzavanu. V'shabbat kadsho, ve'alva uvratzon hinchilanu. Zikaron namaste v'reishit, ki hu yom techila lemikra'ei kodesh, zecher letziyat mitzrayim, kivanu v'charta v'yotanu kidashta mikol Shabbat Kadshecha B'Yahava Uvratzon Hinchaltanu Baruch Atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat. Amen.
Chaim. The preamble that Ira did on page 122, there's often verses from the Torah that are included, especially about Shabbat, before Kiddush on Friday and on Saturday as well. And those are the traditional verses, so thank you for doing that for us. We are going to welcome Shabbat in officially on page 138 and 139 with Lachadodi. And Cantor, which verses are we going to be doing?
Oh, we are going to do Shamor, number 1, Likrat, number 2, number 5, Hit Oreri, and number 9, Boi V'Shalom.
So 1, 2, 5, and 9. On the 9th one, we rise, we face the doorway over there, we bow to Shabbat as she enters, and then we welcome one another by waving.
Another Italian melody.
Shamor v'sachor b'dibur
for our call of community. Look around at our beautiful community here. Take a look around. Each one of you is important. Each one of you is unique. And each Shabbat, there has never been a Shabbat with this particular group of individuals in one room together. So it's wonderful to see you. Page 146, Baruch Hu, our call of community.
Baruch Hu Adonai Hamevorach. Baruch Adonai Hamevorach Le'olam Va'ed.
Let's look at the bottom of 147. We'll read together. O God, you are as near as the very air we breathe, yet farther than the farthest most star. We yearn to reach you. We seek the light and warmth of your presence. Though we say you are near, we are lonely and alone. O let our desire be so strong that it will tear the veil that keeps you from our sight. Let your light release our darkness and reveal the glory and joy of your presence. We turn to the Shema, page 152, 53.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod,
You may be seated, page 154 from the 6th chapter of Deuteronomy, V'ahavta.
V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha v'chol levavecha v'chol nafshecha v'chol me'otecha v'hayu advarim ha'ele asher Elohim mitzavecha Adon al levavecha v'shinata levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha v'veitecha v'lechtecha v'aterer v'shaktecha v'komecha v'kshartam me'od hayatecha v'ayu letotafot einenecha v'tavtav hamezuzot petecha v'vishamrecha למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Let's read together on 155. Love your God with every heartbeat, with every breath, with every conscious act. Keep in mind the words I command you today. Teach them to your children. Talk about them at work, whether you are tired or you are rested. Let them guide the works of your hand. Keep them in the forefront of your vision. Do not leave them at the doorway of your house or outside your gates. They are reminders to do all my mitzvot, so that you can be holy for God. I am Adonai, your God. I led you out of Egypt to become your God. I am Adonai, your God. We turn to the Michamocha, celebrating leaving Egypt on page 158, and I think we have another
Yes,
Italian
a true
melody.
Italian melody.
Cantor, I have a question for you. Since you had so much fun finding all these Italian melodies, how did you find them?
Oh.
And is this one of the richest Jewish musical traditions?
It is, honestly, I can't speak for it, but it's a tradition that goes back to the medieval ages. Jews have been, in a succession, uninterrupted in Italy, and very, very rich, and but I don't mean rich, wealthy, I mean rich cultural, tradition, borrowing from the motifs at the time. You hear a lot of opera in all of these pieces. You hear little pieces of this and that, and so much pride in that. But I had put something out on my Facebook Cantors network, and I said, I'm looking to do an Italian piece, Italian pieces, an Italian service, and very, very nice cantor. His name is David Berger. He had put together an entire service, with choir and different types of instruments and everything, and he just sent me everything. So I went through it all, and I picked maybe like 5, 6 pieces that I really, really liked, and figured great to present it tonight. So thank you.
Yeah, it would be so fun to have a book like that from all over the world, from
By the time we're finished with this,
yeah, we might have one.
a book of settings between the Yiddish pieces and the, next time is Uruguay, and home of the tango. So
we have Sarah back there, Sarah Kinkas, that is going to be
we
presenting.
are going to really enjoy ourselves.
Let's continue with the Italian
Also.
motif with Vishamru on page 162, and this is of course such a familiar melody, so I'm really interested.
Oh no, this
This
will
is
not
gonna
be
be something
familiar,
very
but
different.
if you're an opera
Familiar
fan,
prayer.
you will hear much in there. And this is a melody by Ferrara.
Very moving to think that if we went to an Italian synagogue 100, 200 years ago, they might have been singing that.
They might still be singing
They
some
might
of these
still be, yeah.
melodies.
We'll have
I
to
think
hear
their
from
traditions,
Audrey.
they hang on to their traditions.
We'll hear more from Audrey about that. Let's rise, if you're able, for the Amidah, the Tefillah, the standing prayer, page 164. It'll continue through page 180. Take time for the Hebrew, English, or just your private prayers, and whenever you're ready, you may be seated. Continue with the Yoseh Shalom, our prayer for peace, page 180.
From Florence.
May the maker of peace help us make peace here in our world. Shabbat Shalom. It is so wonderful to have, I think we're up to number 5. I think this is our 5th Jews of Hues. We started in November, December, January. No, I think, did we start October? No. This is our fourth, okay. And we're very overwhelmed by the response and very appreciative. When we sat down and we imagined what this would be like, we had no idea it would really take on such a fervor in the community, and I think it's really the thing that's needed for this moment, especially in light of October 7th and a lot of changes in this world. And how wonderful just to be able to celebrate unique Jewish cultures all throughout the world. We're very appreciative of Michael and Liza and Ilan that are here today. Michael was part of the inspiration for starting this and also helped to fund it, or funded our program. So we're very appreciative of his presence here today as well. And I know how much they like to travel around the world as well. So we are going to hear from Audrey today, and this actually, the impetus for doing this today started in December at our Jews of All Hues service. Because we had just started this program, a lot of the times I knew of people in the community that had really interesting stories, but I didn't know everyone. So I kind of made my list, and Audrey is actually the first person that kind of came up and said, you know, I have a really interesting story. And I knew her story a little bit. I know she had visited Italy, but it didn't really sink completely in about how her family story, and she shared some documents with me this afternoon that her grandmother, I believe, was the first president of the Italian Jewish Cultural Society. So she really has deep roots, a very proud Italian Jewish history. We're going to hear a little bit about that story. I'd like to invite up my friend Ronnie DeBrowen, who together with Evie Weinstein is the head of our Adult Education Committee, and she's, as she has been doing, is going to serve as the moderator. And I see Audrey came prepared with lots of documents. Wonderful. So come sit down over here. Ira, are you joining her? You're feel free to. Okay.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody. And as the rabbi mentioned, I'm here also with Evie, who's at a family simcha, so she can't be here physically, but she's with us anyway. I had been asked, and I did put a few notes into the service pamphlet, and I'll just talk a moment more about Italian Jews before we get our Italian Jew to talk to us. The cantor is correct. The longevity of Jews in Italy is astonishing. It's actually got the longest history of diaspora of Jews outside of our homeland. And the first Jews arrived in the 2nd century BCE. And our presence has been continuous since. I think when most people think of Jews and Italy in the same thought, they either think of Venice and the first ghetto, or if you're my age, a certain age, you might think of the movie The Garden of the Finzi-Contini, where a lot of us were introduced for the first time to the idea of Italian Jews. And that examined a moment of Italian Jewry at the time of the beginning of the Holocaust. But as I mentioned, Jews have lived in Italy since the 2nd century BCE. These early Jews came from what is now Israel, many through Greece. There's a tight tie for many Italian Jews with Greek Jews, and lived mostly in the south. With the expulsion of Jews from the Iberian Peninsula, starting in 1492, Italy gained many Sephardic Jews, adding to those who already were living in the Kingdom of Naples, which was under Spanish rule. And these groups are really are one of two main source of the Venetian Jews that I had mentioned earlier. The Jews of Venice, as many of you know, were forced after a while because of our regular interactions with changing laws and anti-Semitism, were forced to live in a confined area, which in English has come to be known as a ghetto. And that word comes from Giotto, in Italian, which means foundry. Since the first Jewish quarter was near a foundry that made cannons. There have been Ashkenazi Jews living in that part of Italy since the late Middle Ages, including in Venice and throughout that area. And they actually predated Sephardic Jews living there. Following the invention of printing, Italy became a major publishing center for Hebrew and Yiddish books for the use of German and other Northern European Jews. It was actually the center of publishing for books throughout Europe. A group of French Jews being forced to leave France rounded out the Ashkenazi Jews of Italy. So there were a lot of sources. As is true everywhere, Jewish-Italian fortunes varied with the politics of the day. At times, we were treated well, holding government positions and fighting in the Italian army. And at other times, we weren't so fortunate. About a sixth of Italian Jewry perished in the Shoah. Italian Jewish food traditions, which we will sample later, is distinct and marvelous. A book that Audrey lent me is entitled The Classic Cuisines of Italian Jews. And it opens with Vesti da Turco e mangia de ebreo, which means, and terrible Italian accent, sorry, dress like a Turk and eat like a Jew. And it is a saying from the Middle Ages. Everything about Italian Jewish food is true today, and more so. So let's learn what Audrey's experiences are as a representative of Italian Jewry, so we can get to that food. Can you tell us a little bit about your family, how they got to Italy, and what the background is? Which Shabbat celebrations stand out for you? That's a lot of stuff, I know.
I know that
Can you get closer?
my great-grandfather was actually born in Germany, and I don't know exactly how he got to Italy, but his wife was Italian. That's on my grandfather's side. My grandmother's side, my great-grandmother was actually from France and ended up in Italy. My mom, all my family, immediate family, was born in Italy, in Milano. My mom was 2 years old when they were forced to flee because Mussolini had come to power. So they left Italy on the last boat out of Genoa. And the story with that goes that my grandmother had many siblings, and 2 of them had gone to Argentina. Several of them had gone to Israel. They were Zionists before the 1940s. They were one of the brothers to Israel in like the 1930s. They were true pioneers. They were going to Israel to set up a country, and one of them, who was in Israel, is the daughter of my great-grandmother, Berta Cameo. And Berta Cameo was the founder of this organization called the ADE, which was the Association of Jewish Italian women. And their main function was to perform social work in Italy and to do it with their sisters in Palestine. So while my great-grandmother was in Italy doing the work, they were also fundraising and doing things for Palestine, and her daughter in Palestine was her co-founder of this organization.
When you think of a Shabbat celebration that would be quintessentially Italian, what do you think of?
Well, we went to Venice several years ago to my cousin's son was having his bar mitzvah, and we were invited to the bar mitzvah. And we went to Venice, and we spent the weekend in Venice, and there was Friday night services, and then we walked, or some of us rode the ferry to his home for Shabbat dinner after services. Saturday morning services for his bar mitzvah, and then we were in a garden just celebrating and the prayers. Several years later, we went back and saw these brothers, my cousins, again, and we were invited to his home for Shabbat dinner. And it was very interesting because the prayers are the same prayers, but the melodies were different. And the kids were very interested because they said their prayers over the wine and the bread and the challah. It wasn't challah, it was actually 2 loaves of baguettes almost put together. It wasn't our typical challah that we see of the braided breads. But they wanted to hear our melody too. So we shared over Shabbat dinner.
That's wonderful. I have an interesting food question because I got real involved in reading about the food. So I read that keeping kosher in Italy is its own little everybody kind of defines what kosher is.
Yeah.
Does your family practice any sort of kashrut? And if so, do you remember what it was like?
Spoke with them about it. I mean, they don't eat ham, even though ham is prevalent.
Right, yeah,
So
ham is like the
They
most
follow
common.
those laws. Separating milk and meat, they do as well.
See, no,
So
I had
it's-
read that separating milk and meat happens, but a lot of what we in the rest of the world might consider treif wasn't followed. That's interesting.
They follow it pretty well. My cousins did. I mean,
Not judgment question,
No,
like
no,
I
no,
was,
no, but
it was
they-
eye-opening for me.
no, but they did. They were very aware and very observant of those laws.
I understand you have a relative who's a photographer who took pictures for
It was
books.
his son in Venice whose bar mitzvah we went to. My cousin is a professional photographer, and he had a contract. He was photographing the synagogues of Italy. And he's been a contributing photographer to a book, and I have it here. We can see it afterwards. But also the interesting part about that is we were in Israel a year ago, and we were in the Jewish Museum in Jerusalem, the Israel Museum in Jerusalem, and they have replicas of different synagogues in the museum. And there was the Italian synagogue in the museum. And I went upstairs in the women's section, and on the wall were photographs of synagogues in Italy. And I looked on the plaque next to each synagogue describing the synagogues, and there was my cousin's name. He was the photographer. So I wrote to him from there. I said, "Hey, Alberto, I'm in Israel, but I see your photographs on the wall."
And so my final question for you is, as many of us here are travelers and many of us love Italy, what would you suggest we make sure we do to absorb the spirit, the ruach of Italian Jewry next time we are in Italy?
Well, Venice and the ghetto is obviously a big thing. Rome and the food in Rome, in the Roman ghetto near the synagogue, is definitely something to see. But there's also another thing that I've been reading more about, because my mom is from the north, and so Milano doesn't have a very large, more Jewish people live in the south of Rome, Rome and south. You know, there's a huge following. There's a Rabbi Aiello in Calabria, and she's been bringing Judaism back to life. And but there is a population in Milano. My cousin's wife teaches at the Jewish school in Milano, and their kids went there as youngsters. But we've been reading now about the Holocaust and things that have happened, and you had posted about Liliana Segre, who is a renowned Holocaust survivor, and has, when I was talking to my mom about it, she said, oh, she's very well known in Italy. You know, she goes to schools, she speaks about the Holocaust, she lived it. And there's a movie, which is in Italian, but if you look it up on YouTube, it's called Binario 21. It's about the train tracks in the central station in Milano. And they made a museum there. And what happened then is the tracks were under the station where they took Jews out to Auschwitz. And they were put, it was under the station because there's so much traffic going around upstairs where people are traveling and going back and forth, going to work, taking the trains, whatever. They wouldn't notice or hear or see what was going on below ground. So there's lots of information out there to look up.
Well, I want to thank you so very
Can I do
much.
one more?
Oh, absolutely. Sorry.
One more?
Sorry.
Because my sister had written this last year for Holocaust Awareness Day, and we talked about my great-grandfather on the other side, my grandmother's father. He was an innovator, and he was a typewriter importer and exporter that, you know, typing was gonna be the big innovation that was gonna save everybody time. And over the years, he traveled back and forth to the United States 27 times. And one of these trips became a life-extending encounter, is how we are putting it, because Cesare met Cardinal Eugene Tisserand in New York in the 1930s. He was a French Catholic who spoke more than 10 languages, studied in Jerusalem, served as the Pope's private librarian. He extended himself during the time of the racial laws in Italy, where people weren't allowed to do, where the racial laws where Jews were forbidden to own businesses, etc. These laws excluded Jews from schools, academia, politics, finances, and the professional world. So with his business solidified and his children finally joining him in his work, all seemed well until the Jews in Italy became persecuted, and it was dangerous to continue doing business. While my grandfather was not successful in, had come here, left our great-grandparents with none of their children remaining in Italy at a time of deportation risk for concentration camps. So Cesare contacted Cardinal Tisserant and asked for his assistance. Cesare was hidden in the Cardinal's private residence at the Vatican in Rome, while his wife, Eugenie, was hidden in a monastery with the nuns. This help came from heaven, according to the letter written by Cesare after the war, thanking him for hiding them. That Cardinal Tisserant has now been thanked at Yad Vashem. He's the righteous among
Gentile.
Jews.
That's cool. So when we next go to Yad Vashem, we can find his name.
Mm-hmm.
That's excellent. Thank you. Thank you.
Audrey, I have one question for you.
Yep.
Do Italian Jews eat spaghetti?
Yes.
Okay. Now we're okay.
So I want to thank you all. I learned so much every time I put one of these together. Thank you, Michael, for your huge support. On March 1st, as the cantor said, we will be exploring Uruguay. So that should be a very interesting corner of Jewry.
Yeah. And
Shabbat
Sarah,
shalom.
if you'd like to stand up so everyone can see. This is Sarah Kinkus, who will be presenting about her family in Uruguay. Thank you, Sarah. We're going to take time now to do our healing prayers. The prayer itself, page 371. As a community, we've had a lot of people that we're thinking about. We are sending prayers out to Adrielle Arizima, Denise Balsam, Rebecca Baratot, Adam Bernard, Jeff Bowant, Alan and Karen Cooper, Mark Ferber, Karen Farrington, Gloria Fine, Sue Frank, Marianne Friedman, Carolyn and Ernie Grosser, Ken Kellick, Maya, Ruth, Corin Matlock, Charlotte Krebs, Emily Langdon, Carol Lieberman, Miles Levy, Fanny Markel, Aaron Neverler, Marty Nicotera, Leslie Oken, Richard Radis, Dwight Reed, Cheryl Rossi, Brandon Ryan, Diane Wabniak, Chetier, Ed Smith, Jeffrey Smith, Gail Willig Smith, Norma Unher, Mike Wheeler, Frederick Winter, Shoshana Bat Liba, Chana Ezra Ben Shul, Chana Leah Bat Avram Basara, Leba Rachel, Shoshana Bat Leib, and Yochanan Ben Raphael. If there's other names you'd like to say, just raise your hand. Yeah,
Roberta Friedman, Marshall Friedman, and all the Israeli soldiers that have been injured in the last 119 days.
Marilyn, we are at the top 10 of Elsa's.
Very first. Harold Klingenschmidt.
Tony Romano.
Faith Dwyer, Sherry Dwyer, Megan O'Keefe, others.
And we bring all those names into our hearts. Again, page 371, the Mishabera.
Help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mi shebera imotenu, ekod ambraka lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
A complete healing of body and soul. We rise for Aleinu, if you're able, page 586. It's not enough for us just to pray. We need to go out and do good deeds in this world. Robin will understand that reference. Page 586.
Aleinu l'chameach l'adon hakol, l'tik gedulah, celebration, shelo asanti goyim haratzon, velo asavanu, v'nishmachal adama, shelo safel kilukahem, v'gol aleinu, v'chol amonam, v'anachu korim, v'mishavim, u'matim, v'lifnei ve'elam, v'alkei hamlachim, hakadosh baruch hu.
Page 591 at the bottom.
V'nema v'hayam Adonai, v'melech al kol haaretz, v'yom hahu, v'yom hahu, yeh Adonai echad, v'shemo,
You may be seated. Like to bring over a Bruce chorus. Where are you, Bruce? Are you here? What's that? Oh, yard side. Oh, I did it again. I did that last time too. Okay, yeah, we're ready for a yard side. Sorry. Page 598, Mourner's Kaddish. We had a terrible loss in our community. Marlene Glickman. Our prayers are with Joe, Diane, the whole family. For those of you that didn't know Marlene, she really helped to create this community and a lot of the things that we do in it. We're also remembering Lawrence Langer, who's the father-in-law of the sister of Drusi Borowitz. On our Shloshim list, we're remembering Ian David Cohen, Catherine Engelhardt Ellis, Shirley Feldman, Barry Gans, Sam Golden, Jan Ellen Ruderman, Gavin Scott, and Betty Ann Umoff. On our yard site list from years past, we remember Phyllis Abels, Adele Abelson, Sherry Beth Abelson, Abraham Ackerman, Yvette Berger, Bruce Bronstein, Dorothea Brooks, Charlotte Bush, Joel Kamhai, Meredith Cartman, Joel Caviar, Fanny Suchman Cohen, Max Covett, Jerome R. Ellis, Chelsea Engel, Harry N. Faxstein, Pesach Finkel, Jack Fried, Martin Friedlander, Lawrence E. Goldberg, Anna Einstein Gordon, Thomas Gordon, Dora Hecht Weiss, Tilly Horowitz, Alex Jaffe, Sarah G. Khaled, Dorothy Clampert, Sydney Klein, David Lynn, Annette Lowinger, Gloria Massimo, Clarice Mendelvici, Eli W. Mitnick, Bella Morris, Sylvia Nadell, Isaac Ostreicher, Bernard Panner, Natalie Picht, Mildred Rubin, Hannah Seitz, Myron S. Simon, Samuel Spark, Raymond Strauss, Louis Stringer, Joseph Schwartz, Nancy Taylor, Alice Teplitsky, Vincent Vizzi, and Marge Vosberg. Are there other names that people are thinking of?
Gary Kerman and Milton Monson.
All those whose custom it is to rise, the mourner's Kaddish will say together. Yikadal v'yikadash shemei rabbah, v'yalma divrach hirtei, v'yamlik malchutei, v'chayachon v'yamachon v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, v'agala v'zman karib v'yimru, amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mevorach le'olam olmei olmaya. Yitbarak v'yishtabak v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar, v'yitalev, v'yitalal, shemei d'kudashah, b'rechu. Leila min kol birchata v'shirata. Tush b'chata v'nechamata, damiran v'yalma v'yimaru, amen. Yehei shlam rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael v'yimaru, amen. Oseh, shalom, b'imrama. Huya says shalom. Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru amen. May the one who creates harmony and high bring peace to us, to all Israel and all the world, and we say amen. You may be seated. Zikronam levracha. May their memories be for a blessing. And now we're ready for Bruce Course. Sorry, that's the second time in a row I did that.
Seems like you've come up more.
That's so funny. I'll come up whenever you need me. Shabbat Shalom again, everyone. Thank you to our guest speaker, Audrey Nadell, and Ronnie DeBrown for moderating this evening. Thank you, of course, to your cohort, Evie Weinstein, for helping to put this together. And special appreciation to Michael Berger for sponsoring our Jews of All Hues Shabbat series. Next month, it is Uruguay, which should be fascinating. I just want to point out one thing. I did not know that Audrey was Italian. With all the stuff that she bakes for Temple, not once has she made cucciadati. Just for what it's worth. That's for you, Diane, watching from the stream. Thank you to our service greeters this evening, Sheila Bernard Tucker and Cindy Rotello. We appreciate your help. Special thank you, of course, to Rabbi Alex Cantor Frank and Ivan Dachenko for a really beautiful service this evening, separate from Audrey and Ronnie's part. The music was. We've been on a kind of an international thing going. A couple weeks ago, you had us on a Congo line. Last week was very operetta-ish. It was kind of Gilbert and Sullivan-ish. Tonight we're doing Italy. I don't remember what it was, but I was thinking of Gilbert and Sullivan.
Song of the Sea.
Yeah. Anyway, and then tonight we're in Italy. So it's a wonderful thing. And Gregory Dachenko will be joining you right over so we'll have the Dachenko brothers over in the social hall during the Onig, which will be very cool. Tomorrow morning, Torah study is at 9 o'clock. It is at Temple Beth Zedek, and it's available via their Zoom. Torah study is in person this week. Also, the Shabbat morning service, I should say, is at 11 o'clock tomorrow morning. That is at Canterbury Woods. Sunday morning, we have the men's group. At 9 o'clock, our guest speaker is Erie County Executive Mark Polinkars. It was supposed to be Gail Burstein. She said, "Can't you get anyone else from the county instead of me?" So Gail has been very generous with her time coming to speak to our men's group, and we appreciate that. And so Mark Polinkars we've been having trouble getting him scheduled for a variety of reasons dating back to the blizzard. So we're going to have Mark here Sunday morning. That's at 9 o'clock. For him and bagels and cream cheese and nuts. So please join us. It's the men's group, but men, women, everyone are welcome for that. How many people, quick show of hands, took part in the rabbi's class before services tonight? I popped in to look in his office. There were more people tonight in his office than we usually get on a Friday night service. It was amazing. So it was. There have never been that many people in his office at once. So this class is an ongoing thing called Intro to Shir Shalom Friday night services. It's on Fridays at 6:30 ahead of the services. And he's kind of taken us through the order of the service. He started doing it a couple of weeks ago. We have a lot of new members. We have a lot of new members of the faith, not just members of our temple community. But I noticed peeking my head in there, some longtime members that were in there as well. It's interesting to find out the traditions behind the traditions. So that's ongoing. There won't be one next Friday. The next one will be on Friday, February 16th. Speaking of Friday, February 16th, that is our big dessert cook-off. We are having our first cook-off since before the pandemic. So if you haven't signed up for it yet, please do so. It should be a lot of fun. The emails have gone out. We'll be having fun desserts, and someone will win a gift card. So it should be a lot of fun. That is Friday, December 16th. Tara Cross, our VP of Membership, needs to know what you're making and the ingredients. We don't need your secret recipe, but we do need to know the ingredients for allergy purposes so we can list all of them. So the dessert cook-off is Friday, December 16th. Next Friday, we are having our Team Spirit Shabbat, because of course nothing says Team Spirit in Buffalo like the Friday before the Super Bowl when the Bills aren't in it. So we're going to do the best we can to show our team spirit on Friday night. That is a week from tonight. Pickleball, open play, Monday and Thursday this week from 6:30 to 8:30 based on availability. We are doing the hospice flower sale again this year. If you would like to purchase a bouquet in support of hospice, there's a poster in the lobby, and for those of you that are here in the room tonight, Jackie Block is honchoing that, so you can chat with her. It is our 9th Chai Club drawing. Joanne will come up in just a minute for that. Drawings are every week until Purim. Then the big drawings, the night of the Purim Spiel. And if you do win any particular week, your tickets go back in. So you can win again and again and again, and you can still buy tickets. Please talk to Joanne about that. You can also buy Super Bowl squares if you want. Talk to Joanne about that. So speaking of Purim, Saturday, March 23rd, this year's Purim Spiel, the biggest extravaganza yet. The Megillah, according to Barbie. We are going to turn the temple into Barbie's house of worship. It'll be a fascinating night. The rabbi wrote the script. The cantor has been cracking the whip on us at our rehearsals. We have a rehearsal coming up this Sunday morning, I should say, at 11:45, and there's still some opportunities to be in it if you wish. If you need anything, please feel free to reach out to the rabbi, the cantor, Todd, Joanne, or myself. And please join us after the service for our Oneg Shabbat, which is sponsored by Michael Berger, catered by Bloom and Rose, Jewish Italian food. Whatever there is, there's a big side order of guilt to go with it. It'll be wonderful. And oh, by the way, this is exciting news. Bloom and Rose will be catering our second night Seder this year. So we've been enjoying their food from around the world. We'll get to enjoy traditional Jewish foods on our Seder, our second night Seder. The second night of Passover. I don't know the date. April 23rd. As the rabbi said, it's late this year.
I'll pick this.
Okay, so Alex is going to pick the tickets. If you don't
Here we
win,
go.
blame
For
him.
$18, we need a drum roll. Julie Walker. Yeah, that's connected to Marina. $18. All right, ready for 36? Drum roll. Right in this room. Oh, is he? Chris Cohen. $36. Double high, and for triple high, we have Gabi Overhoff. That was from Marcia Carr.
Very good. Thank you, everyone.
Mazel tov. All right, we're ready for a little bit more Italian music. Adon Olam, page 625.
So I said to myself, what is the most recognizable Italian tune that you could ever think of? And
Is it from
I came up with this. And I think you will recognize it. And my apologies to all the tragic characters that it evokes.
Ivan's looking at us. Are we ready? Adon Olam.
Hashem Olam.
Adon Olam.
Hashem Olam. V'yadon Avkid Ruchi
Tishan ve'ayira. Adon Olam. Adon Olam. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. As you came in peace, may you leave in peace. Please return your sidurim, your prayer books, to the front, minus the leaflet, and enjoy the oneg. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.